Cardano had pulled back to some pretty interesting buy zones and accumulation zones. Most recently, we have seen some pretty good volatility for ADA and some pretty good opportunities to dollar cost average better positions. In this video, we're going to dive into some technical analysis on Cardano and talk about what we might be expecting to happen next as we exit September and go into October in a really strong way. Guys, if you find this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, let's dive down into this technical analysis on Cardano. So we're going to start things off, guys, with the weekly chart. Really talking about these 5 impulse waves to the upside. Now, we can obviously see that things started back up here in March of 2020. Wave 1 peaked up in July, wave 2 was bottoming out in September 2021. We can see that wave 3 up here really peaked up nicely in May 2021, and again wave 4 bottomed out with a triple tap at the bottom here. This was basically May, June, and then I believe July. We can see that we have started the 5th wave. We set a new all-time high at $3.10. Slight pullback here again from a couple of scenarios. One, Bitcoin was pulling back, and then one was due to well, basically what was going on with the real estate market over in China. Overall, this was a fantastic opportunity to buy up some of the fear. And again, this is not unusual in the space. You see these level of corrections all the time in every single wave that we do, because inside every wave, be that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, there are additional waves. Okay, so this is just a bigger time frame that you can obviously quite clearly see the 5 impulse waves. Wave 4 was actually quite sharp in its way that it was. Wave 2 was very flat. This is the alternation theory in terms of Elliott theory, right? So this basically allows us to see that when one is flat, the other one is usually sharp, and they usually are opposite each other. So if wave 2 was sharp, wave 2 would have been flat. Okay, so overall, this is actually pretty much in line with my expectations on Elliott theory, these 5 impulse waves to the upside. So looking like we are pushing nicely to the upside now. We obviously have had a good correction on our stochastic RSI, pulling down ever so slightly. Again, we have oversold area for wave 4, oversold area for wave 2, overbought for wave 1, overbought for wave 3, and looking to stay overbought for wave 5. Although the volatility has hit us hard as usual with September being the month of corrections. That's exactly what we've seen over here, like we saw in wave 2. We are not in wave 4 just yet. I do think that setting the new all-time high here does not represent a peak of wave 3, but actually, a good correction that is due halfway through wave 5. So we are looking to push up to the upside in a really strong way now for Cardano. So overall, the weekly structure is still very much intact. There's nothing to worry about in terms of what we've seen recently. And I'm going to go through the smaller timeframes as well to highlight what I can see going on there. Usually, once the month of September is out of the way, October is a pretty good strong month, and we can see that representing as we look to exit out wave 2 here as well. And you can go back through the history and you can see lots of different scenarios where September's are usually the months where you see pullbacks, and then you do push up significantly as you go into October. Obviously, for the bull run, for anyone who caught my Bitcoin video, anticipating the bull run to kind of peak out, or Bitcoin to peak out in December. And then, of course, we will be looking to peak out most of these altcoins either early 2022 or late December. So overall, everything's pretty much on track for that. Nothing major to report here for Cardano on the weekly. So let's jump down into our daily view. This allows us to see a few additional things. First of all, we have got this area here, and this is a Fibonacci retracement tool from the previous high of $2.47 at the top of wave 3, the low of wave 4, and again, this actually then allows us to see a $7.22 price prediction here for Cardano, with a nice theoretical top of $10. I think with some transactional volume, new dApps, smart contracts, all the things that are being built on the network will allow us to potentially overextend from that. But the current performance-wise, $7.22 seems like a pretty sensible area. The other thing that has been forming on many of these altcoins is a little bit of a cup and handle kind of scenario. You can see it a little bit clearer on the weekly than you can on the daily, but you can see there is a cup and handle scenario here. This would then actually show us moving on out. So I'll just quickly draw that up for you guys, so you guys are aware of what we are seeing. So from here, we can actually see that during this cup and handle scenario, I do anticipate the price rising steadily up to this 1.618 area. This would actually put Cardano at about $4.45 in the month of October, in my opinion. So mark that one. I do think that's something that we're likely to see with the cup and handle scenario here. Here's your cup, here's your handle, then we surge up to this area just here for the $4.45. So again, it's a pattern that's quite clearly visible on the weekly. You can see it also here on our daily chart as well. And what I will do is I'm just going to grab hold of a horizontal ray. And we'll just quickly mark up this price target here, and I'll just make it green so that we know that that's a price target. So 445, and then I'll just remove that fib. So when we talk about this cup and handle scenario that's been forming here on the daily and of course the weekly, and what we'll be looking for now is basically taking the high of our put that back, the high of our cup on the right hand side, then the low of our saucer or our actual cup here, and the high of the handle. And this will actually allow us to see the price prediction of $4.45. That's my anticipation as we look to kind of go into October in a really strong way, partially almost up to our 2.6 extension or the 2.618 extension of the $4.84. So overall, things are looking like they are going to be moving to the upside in a really nice and strong way. We can see that the stochastic RSI has been oversold for a while. We've just come out of this oversold area, looking to push back up into the overbought area like we were previously over here. We're up here pretty much for an entire month before, and it looks like we've been down here pretty much for the most of September as well. So again, when we take a look at what the kind of price action that we saw previously from our oversold area to our overbought area, we're tracking all of this motion just here. Now, obviously, we have the Cardano Summit over the weekend. We will be attending, so if anyone else is down in London for the Cardano Summit, we'd love to meet you. Do join us. That would be fantastic. But ultimately, I think there's going to be some interesting news that comes out of that, some interesting kind of partnerships maybe, and all sorts of various things. So looking forward to seeing what that will also bring in terms of price expectations and appreciation on ADA. Overall, this daily chart's looking pretty good. We are moving back to the upside out of our 618, 702, 786. Getting this closed candle again, a weekly one above this area, is going to be indication a nice strong week ahead next week for Cardano. So overall, everything's looking pretty good on the charts of the daily. And guys, this video has been sponsored by 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏, and specifically the Cardano ADA pool. If you are looking to support the channel and our effort here to communicate out all the recent kind of news, articles, price changes and price action of your favorite altcoins, then there's no better way than delegating your ADA into our stake pool. By doing so, you'll not only support the channel, but you will also earn a juicy return and a nice passive income on your ADA holdings. It's really simple to do, guys. Just load up your 𝗖𝗢𝗪 or Deadliest wallet, drop your ADA into the wallet, and then find the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏 pool via the ticker 𝗕𝗘. In doing so, you'll earn a nice juicy return and support the channel. There is no better time to do so, so why not delegate to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏 today? So at this point, we'll jump over to advice.io and actually take a look at the artificial intelligence and machine learning ratings for ADA. Here we have Cardano at a rating of B3. It hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The fear and greed index is a C3, so there is still extreme fear in the market here for Cardano, but I think this is going to be short-lived, and that fear has been up for sale for a few days now. So I think we've seen an interesting move. A lot of people have been buying up ADA. I know that Chris has, I have, and I know a few other people in the space have also been buying up more ADA. So again, this seems like a pretty interesting kind of thing that's been going on. And again, it seems like an opportunity that you didn't really want to miss out on. We can see that the moving averages are at C2. Again, that's been affected by the recent performance, but I do anticipate this is going to move up nicely in the next little while. The Sharpe ratio is C2, just below our 50-day average. It's actually pretty much exactly our 50-day average. So I do anticipate that this over the next few days is also going to really turn into our favor. So risk-reward ratios, quite negative, I would say, at this point. So be mindful over this. We can see obviously the profitability, the A1 rating, obviously it's incredibly profitable. There are no problems with our AMI-HAD ratio, so no problems with liquidity. So overall, when we take a look at this underlying data, I would say yes, there's definitely fear in the space, but I can see that we're actually in a pretty good push to the upside overall and good expectations to the end of the year, that this is the kind of fear that I want to be buying. The moving averages, I can understand the effect on the most recent kind of trading. It has pulled down the 10, 50 and 100-day averages, and therefore that is being affected negatively, and we should be mindful over that and looking for any potential issues with crossing those moving averages. We can see the Sharpe ratio. This is the most interesting metric for me. We have obviously, if we actually zoom out on this one, seeing how we were tracking quite below the 50-day average for quite some time. Now we have taken a little bit of a dip here, but we are exactly on that that average right now, right? That 50-day average. So this is one that I think is important that we do acknowledge that it could be a potential risk to hold ADA. But as a long-term investor, I'm okay with it, but you should be mindful over that. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, nor is Chris, but for me, I couple the charts with what this underlying data is telling me. And although we have pulled back quite significantly, we are looking for that surge to the upside, right? And this is where you potentially see the opportunities. We can see the opportunity was down here when I had a huge discount on ADA back in July. And then obviously the risk reward ratio it was indicating was a high risk scenario. But actually that's when you started coupling the charts, seeing a good move to the upside and actually moving back up into a really good area for Cardano. So although we did dip below the 50-day average, coupled this with the charts, I'm actually thinking this is actually an opportunity along with our fear to actually be buying it up ahead of where I think it's likely to go next. So overall, I'm not concerned over that, but you should be mindful. The Sharpe ratio does exist for a reason. It's to try to help mitigate against risk. So you might want to hold off if you're looking at ADA, saying that you might want to wait until actually that's actually in your favor to be, buying it up, i.e. above that 50-day average. Overall though, I think, it's artificial intelligence is spot on with what it's saying. There is clearly fear in the space. We can see that. The moving averages have been affected. We can see that too. The Sharpe ratio is a good indication of risk reward ratio, and it's good to see that there's no problems with liquidity or profitability overall. So it's good to have that kind of insight. So the guys, there is a link to 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗨𝗖 in the description below. Check it out. It's free to sign up. You'll get this insight, and I think you'll be very impressed with what you find. It updates every single day, so if you do come across anything like worrying, it will highlight that to you. Okay, with all that being said, cup and handles kind of pattern forming should take us up to about a $4.45 in my opinion, and from here we can obviously see good progress now on our stochastic RSI. So what about that hourly view, right? What's going on here, and why am I so bullish at the moment on Cardano? So ultimately we did see this area of the 618. This seemed to be a pretty good low point. We found ourselves consolidating around these areas here of where $1.96, $2, $2.04, and then obviously, taking out these key areas, right? We had the 618, the 702, the 786, and we've had good progress right here. Now, this takes us from an oversold to an overbought area in a really strong way. We are heading down to the oversold area whilst protecting the price and getting rejected from $2.29. This is an area that was previously support, became resistance. And again, this is the most common area that we would be looking at resistance now. Gearing up for a good move today, guys. I think we are likely to pierce past this resistance and probably push all the way through and head up towards our $2.44 area. I think there'll be a little bit of turbulence and resistance at a few places. So we might find that actually $2.40 is our barrier. I'm not going to mark it up, but I do think there's something here that might actually be a bit of a problem. But ultimately, I'm anticipating that we'll kind of trade sideways here for a little bit and then slowly work our way up to about $2.40. We might end up with rejections from there, back testing on something like the $2.32. So up to $2.40, down to $2.32, and then up again. I think we're on a road to recovery as we exit September. So some fantastic opportunities to buy up, some fear that's been for sale, good opportunities with the stochastic to grow. But what about that volume? How is that volume faring for us? And well, we can take a look here. The volumes were growing as we were moving up, not amazingly well, but they were growing. And obviously, as we started to have this pullback here, the stabilization, we started to see the volumes drop. So if those volumes stay nice and low down here, as we kind of get this corrected on the stochastic, then we are looking for a good surge to the upside next. And we do want to see that volume come back in. But again, we have to be mindful. It is a reasonable amount of fear in the space for Cardano. And as a result of that, the volumes will probably be lower than we would like them to be. With all that being said, though, I do anticipate some pretty good things happening over the weekend with the Cardano Summit, some new announcements, and some pretty cool things hopefully getting announced there overall. So I am pretty confident in the long-term vision. If we are ever in doubt, we do zoom out either to the daily, we take a look at the structure on the daily, we take a look at the structure on the weekly, have a good vision of where we are going. I'm pretty confident on $7.22, and I do like to think that once we start getting that transactional volume, $10, $15, $20, they're all up for grabs really, guys. If we do see $10, it's only a $320 billion market cap. Even though market cap doesn't really represent too much, I know a lot of people like to kind of get that number in their head to understand whether it is possible or not possible. Ultimately, they're all possible. Market cap is no barrier to entry, but $10 does put us at about 320 billion market cap, which is less than Ethereum. So overall, I think people will be understanding that $10 is incredibly feasible and not something that is out of reach by any stretch of the imagination. It's good to see that some of the fodder out there is also disappearing in terms of Ghost Chain, although I did see a comment saying that we should sell Cardano because it's going to become a Ghost Chain. So I don't think that one's ever going to leave, but in my opinion, the only one that's potentially going to become a Ghost Chain are going to be some of those other smart contract platforms that haven't really kept up with security, scalability, and transaction fees, etc. So when you have a fast, secure, and cheap blockchain like Cardano, I do think that we are going to see migrations happen, and actually the ghost chains will become, the former chains. But overall, I'll leave that there. Guys, if you have found this video useful and informative, then do go ahead and hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.